Hey there, everybody. So this is an addendum to my video this morning, and it happened when I was on a dog walk. So this is why listening to your body and listening to what's going on in your body really matters. So I was talking about the facilitation of death. Well, as I was walking on my dog walk, I got a sense that something was there in my body, and I felt sadness, kind of like the grief sadness, the bottomless feeling, the something taken away feeling. And I realized there were two things going on there. One was that I needed to also include in this video that as a facilitator of death, you do oftentimes feel someone else's grief, someone else's sadness, someone else's depression. That can include the people that are left behind, right, going through that, and that can include the one that's passed on. You know, feeling sad that they had to leave everybody or sad that they couldn't work it out. And the idea of the facilitator of death is that you want to help someone clean up all that energy. You want to help them connect to their infinite being and gather up all that energy, which is just wavelengths. All of our thoughts, feelings, and emotions are wavelengths, and you're going to transform them. You transform them so that, first of all, they gather up all their energy from wherever they left it and take it out of those emotions, right? And it's not about being non-emotional and not honoring life in the death and all of that, and not honoring contribution, or not even acknowledging the sadness that someone went through. You know, this is very important. I have to say this first. That's what they tell me, is that in the world and the work that I do in the world that I work in. By the way, I'm by a school where there's full of life and they're having PE, because that's where I was told to sit and do this heavy subject, so there's some light energy in it. But people come into this world by choosing their parents, right? So they choose their parents. Now that's a controversial statement, but I see this time and again, it's obvious. And sometimes they do that to change that person. Right? Sometimes they do that because that person is someone they want to be with again. They want to be as a child, and that family has something to offer them. They like what the life is going to be like. And sometimes they do that to contribute to the parents or to contribute to the family. And that's where I had to learn that the contribution of my brother's life was in fact also his death. When he died early and he changed our worlds, who would I have been otherwise? That what I gained from that was amazing. Of course I had grief. Of course I had to get over that. I had to leave that energy somewhere else. I had to figure that out. But I didn't wallow in it because of the words of my father. The words of my father were, you had the gift of his life, and now your job is to figure out the gift of his death. And that was on his wake. So this sense that I got in my body was, it was important to talk about the fact that you can feel sadness, but you need to know by asking, is that mine? Or is something trying to show it to me that it wants to leave it? Or even show me that their family has it, and can we let it go, right? So, people have been, this came about on the dog walk by me watching a video of Oprah Winfrey's friend being very distraught over how she was portrayed in an interview that included Kobe Bryant, who just passed away. So I'm not going to go into that, but it was the sense that I got that there was someone having incredible sadness. People do things in life that's not great, and then they make amends for them, or they pull their energy out of them, or that action that they did transform the world in some way by conversation or whatever. So we need to recognize that, if you're feeling that the family left behind is feeling incredibly sad, how can you change those energies? How can you work with the infinite being that left to help communicate with the ones that are there, right? And transform the energy, have them pull all their energy out out of the living, so that the living are not experiencing the dead in a way that is a longing. So if you think of a parent who put so much energy and became so identified with their child, for example, that when their child died, they were nobody, right? That's an example of someone where you need to change the energy, because that person always needed to find themselves, right? It is one thing to be in someone's life, to have someone in your life. It is another thing to be in their world, right? Those are different things. one of the greatest things we can all do is pull our energy out of our children, out of our spouses, out of our work partners, everything, so that we have our own energy and they're not influenced by us and vice versa. Right? So anyway, I don't know if this helped anybody, but this addendum seemed to be very important. So I'm adding it as addendum 2A to this episode. Bye.